Hello and welcome to the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Dakmo Aruwajoye. Today on the program, individual House of Reps members vow to resist part-time legislature, and the defense headquarters says it has no knowledge of arrest of Ahmed Salkida. And later on the program, the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, says hunger in Nigeria will last a while, except it is battled with determination and hard work. I've been hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Dikbo Olayoku, and Adekunle Yusuf. A journalist hangout starts in a moment. The public anger against the legislature in the country, particularly the National Assembly, has been too unusual. It certainly did not start with the trending budget padding scam, though the scandal has worsened public distrust and hatred for the lawmakers. The amount used in running the National Assembly full-time is alarming. In order to cut the cost of governance in the country, former military president General Ibrahim Babangida called for part-time legislature in the country. Notable Nigerians have also called for part-time legislature as a means of cutting costs. Meanwhile, House members have separately vowed that any attempt to turn the Nigerian legislature into a part-time arm of government would be resisted. They argued that nobody could take the Nigerian legislature for a ride and accept it folds its arms. One of the reps, a principal officer who spoke on condition of anonymity, said if that is what they want, then they should bring the bill. We will give it adequate attention that it deserves. Is part-time legislature suitable for Nigeria? I told you I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Dikbo Olayoku, and Adewale Yusuf. Gentlemen, Adekunle Yusuf, no Adewale Yusuf. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us again. I'll rather start with you. What do you think, the last question, is a part-time legislature suitable for Nigeria?
Yes. I think even currently what we have is part-time legislature. None of them works full-time. If you're a salary earner, you know that you work from certain period to certain period. None of them does that, and all Nigerians know. By the constitution, there is a specified number of times they should sit in a year. Even the president of the Senate and the speaker, none of them can face Nigerians and say he has been there all the time throughout the legislative period in any year. So what they do is part-time, but we pay them full-time. Like, that is what is happening.
So what you're saying, we rather, since they are doing part-time, we just pay them part-time.
So we just change the payment, model towards paying them for part-time work that they are doing.
Because we're thinking of cutting costs.
Yes, they are the ones ripping us off. They are doing part-time work, but they are collecting full-time work.
Wow. So we have to we have to go to the remuneration department now to think about
the revenue mobilization and
remuneration
fiscal should do its work. Nigerians don't want a situation where, look at how much goes to the National Assembly per year. They will tell you it's 150 billion. I was reading a report, they said in 16 years, 1.6 trillion has been voted to National Assembly alone.
In 16 years.
What have we benefited from them? Is it a National Assembly whereby, because a principal officer is involved in a criminal, charge, they will quickly go and, after the maybe EFCC, or whichever agency that is prosecuting that principal officer? Or is it the House of Reps where somebody will be facing weighty allegations and you will insist that you will not resign? What are they doing that is spectacular? Many Nigerians know that a lot will have happened if you do the PIB, petroleum. What happened? Most genuine bills that will help this country, they won't do it. They are self-serving. We should pay them for doing part-time work.
Okay. General, what do you think? It says they are doing part-time work right about now. Should we just change their money, or should we just stick to the part-time? If you get what I mean.
Interestingly, we have to make reference to the former military president, an interview he granted of recent.
General Ibrahim Babangida.
The way I said, one of his greatest regrets is that they didn't make the National Assembly a pattern business and stuff like that. Like Adekunle said, the Constitution is very clear. The Constitution says that they must sit for a minimum number of days, 181. That does not mean that they cannot sit for more than those days, but a minimum.
Out of 366
days. And I know that this issue came up some time ago, because interestingly, I don't know if anybody has really sat down to really take down the number of days they work, because at times you get lost, you don't even know, because before you realize it, they will come back. Before you can see Jack Robinson, they will go on recess again. So I don't think if anybody really sat down to really count the number of days they work. I remember that there was an encounter we had with one of them who said Nigerians are talking from ignorance, that the number of days they appear in plenary is not the number of days that the Constitution is talking about, that their committee work, their oversight work is part of sitting.
And they're right.
But the English language that they use in the Constitution is very simple. The number of days they must sit. And I don't think sitting will mean oversight function. I don't think so. My own understanding of English language. Now to the issue of part-time or whether they should be full-time. I don't think Nigerians will have really bothered if actually we have really gotten results from their activities.
But
go and look at from the beginning. That was how they incurred the wrath of Nigerians. From the very beginning in 1999, the very first thing that preoccupied their mind was furniture allowance. That was the genesis of the problem Nigerians have with National Assembly. And since then, they have not gotten it right. Because it's like they continue stumbling from one misdemeanor to the other. Until the one that Adekunle just mentioned. So I think, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do, because they are being full-time is a constitutional matter. And if there are going to be any amendment to the Constitution, it must go to them. That is just the problem that we have. And I don't think these people will sit over or discuss a bill
that's not favorable to them.
Their ATM that they have access to.
ATM, you said.
Yes, so I think that is the problem.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the people who crafted the Constitution in the first place should have made it part-time, because these lawmakers don't sit on Mondays. They come in on Tuesday. They close for the week on Thursday. That's the way they sit. They don't sit on Friday, so that they can have an extended weekend.
And a minimum wage earner works throughout the week.
Yes, even some work on Saturdays. Because by the Nigerian law, Saturday is even a working day. So these ones come in from their constituencies or other places where they enjoy themselves, come in on Tuesday morning, leave on Thursday afternoon. To even sacrifice at the time when they were screening our ministers was difficult for them. If you go to Abuja on a Friday,
empty.
Abuja is as calm as a graveyard. No activity in the National Assembly, because they will have gone to their villages and to their constituencies. Some of them will have traveled abroad. Look, if we are really serious, even as journalists, we should begin to actually look at the National Assembly, the Senate, and identify the truants among those lawmakers. And the question to ask yourself is, what is even quality representation? When we talk about quality representation, when some lawmakers stay away, how many times have you heard that Jerry Useni? In fact, most people don't even know that Jerry Useni is a senator. Jerry Useni is a senator.
The former minister of FCT?
Yes. He's there.
Jerry Ball.
How many times does Jerry Useni appear in the Senate? The former Senate president, how often does he go there now?
You mean David Mark?
Yes. How often does he go there now? And when he goes there, it's just passive. He doesn't want to appear like he's rocking the boat. So it's like he's not there. We have elected a significant number of people who are just bench warmers and trants. It's a terrible thing. You are already treating the job as part-time. So I see no reason why they should oppose the idea of part-time. Because they are really not giving their best. That is the fact. Some of them who are former governors, if they sit 2 days, they've gone abroad. Go and check. We have friends in the National Assembly. This is reality. The ones who are serious in the National Assembly that you hear them talking are largely those who have just gone into this National Assembly.
The Jambites.
Yes, people like Shehu Sani, you see them, they will get up, they want to talk. The ones who have been there for so long, they just sit down there that is when they are present, or if they are not sleeping.
Some will be sleeping, yes.
Oh, sleeping.
I've watched several sessions.
It is like sleeping is legalized in the National Assembly.
So if they try that in North Korea, they know what they will get.
No, you can. In North Korea,
you get executed.
In North Korea, you can be executed
for
not feeding your dog.
I tell you.
So the reality is, these guys are not giving us quality representation. I wish that Nigeria was like Senegal, where the president decided to scrap the Senate in the overriding public interest. Because if you ask, are these guys giving the best to Nigerians? The answer is no. No. They are really, and it shows. You see it clearly. Where they appear to fight frenetically is when the issue concerns them. They will fight tooth and nail. A National Assembly that is serious, that really wants to work, you won't see them going to appear in court because one of them is facing trials. I mean, people should respect themselves more than this. But that is what is happening. And the transit, I know some lawmakers from the East, for example, who didn't really need that position. But somehow they took part in an election, won the election, and rather than sit in the hollow chambers, so-called hollow chambers, and do the work, they are busy transacting business. So it is a rarity to find them even sitting with others, because they are businessmen and their business continues. So why not just accept that we do this on part-time basis?
They should be paid on part-time basis.
Yes.
Is that what you're making?
I'm telling you,
slash their court.
I challenge you and anybody listening to me to begin to take the affairs of those people seriously. You will see that quite a significant number of them hardly go to that place. People who are already, who have been governors, see the National Assembly as a place to retire. So it shouldn't be. It is serious business. In America, lawmaking is serious business. And when we are talking about part-time, it's not as if it doesn't happen in other countries. No, nobody has something unheard of. Even in Texas, one of the biggest states in America. Their lawmakers are on part-time, and they are proud about it.
Let me come back to you and get Yusuf talking also. You mentioned Senegal, and you mentioned the president. I don't know much about there, but I think the Constitution gave the president the power. You heard the word the anonymous lawmaker was saying, if that is what they want, then they should bring the bill. We will give it adequate attention that it deserves.
But if you read further, he said they will throw it into the trash can.
No, the thing is, let's not. It thinks that is the only way that the law can be amended. Okay. Of course, it can be amended in other ways. If we feel strongly about it, this thing will go through the entire state legislature in Nigeria. There will be public hearing, and once the overwhelming majority of Nigerians say this is what they want, no matter what the person who said he would throw it into the trash can thinks, that law will hold.
So that means they don't know their onions already?
The way they always think as if they even own the National Assembly, when they talk from this leadership of the House and the Senate, sometimes when issues concerning them, they talk as if the National Assembly belongs to them. No, it is an institution owned by Nigerians. If you look at United States, it's like maybe 9 or 10 states practice, because in the United States, apart from the federal government that has bicameral legislature, you still have in some states, they have House of Representatives and Senate. But you see that majority of states in the United States don't do it. That is a rich country. If we started this in 1999 without weighing the consequences, the economic situation of the country now cannot afford it. Look at the budget of this year. The cash crunch is happening. They can't fund most of the budget. No. So if it will free resources so that there will be a lot to do to improve and upgrade infrastructure in Nigeria. Believe me, if they reduce the amount of money that goes to each senator and House of Reps member,
it will go a long way.
Do you know the benefit will be that many politicians will no longer want to go there? You now see people who are genuine patriots, people who just want to give service. You see professionals, they will just volunteer. I just want to help my country. But what do we have here? Political jobbers who are people who are professional politicians, they want to be there for life.
But without thinking about the people that elected them there. So the adjective you use for someone like that is a callous person.
That's what they are.
Because, again, General, you rather think that their pains or their responsibilities will reduce if they are being paid lesser money and they use the remaining money to fix the society. Because when you are rich in the midst of poor people, indirectly the person is poor. Don't they have that at the back of their mind?
If you have had the opportunity of interacting with these people, when they drop the gap of being a senator, you engage them in discussion like friends. You understand the mindset that took many of them to the National Assembly. Many of them believe that it is a place where you can make cool money and nobody is going to look at you.
But what about the people in their
constituencies?
Journalists
always look at ministers. They are what contracts, they have stolen money. But what these guys make in the National Assembly is far more than what the ministers make. How do I mean? You have just seen what happened in the area of budget padding.
And your brain.
I told you, I don't know if I've said it on this set. When the issue of budget padding was raging, when the said president or executive sent the padded budget, I came across a senator, a former senator. The man was very angry with Nigerian journalists. That we made it look as if that was the first time padding will come when they're talking about budget. That has been the practice since 1999. But what they do is that they know the ministries, when they bring it, they say, okay, you have done it, okay, we are going to do our own. The ministries that are padded, they go to them. They know how to share the money. That is one. Then again, in the area of oversight, I told you, if I'm going to mention his name, the former EVC of the NCC, the pioneering chairman EVC, Dr. Ernest Ndukwe, because there was time they were doing this town hall meeting of NCC and the consumers, told us one day that they came to him from National Assembly, the usual oversight. Then after the event, they asked him, because they were expecting the guy didn't perform. They asked him, where's the thing? The man told them, I cannot. And that was when the issue of the registration was coming up. When the then minister sent a bill of 6 billion to the National Assembly, they told him that they would not approve the money for him. That 6 billion naira they wanted to use for registration verification. He said they told him that they would not approve that money for him. That is the way they see National Assembly, apart from other things. So somebody who goes into National Assembly with that mindset, that I'm going to make good money where nobody is going to look at me, no, I'm not a minister, nobody is going to penalize me, will now be thinking of what will be the impact on the common man. It is not possible. Because the reason why he went there in the first instance was to go and make what they call cool money, where nobody is going to look at
himself and his family.
No. They settles himself, and that's why many of them, you see them, when they get there, what they do is they will be amassing wealth to be able to go into the executive as a governor or even president, if it's possible.
That is just I will share one experience with you. Professor Sholade is in the Senate now. I think Senate Chief Whip. You know, formerly he was in the House of Reps.
Yes.
He and two others were the ones making noise about outrageous payments legislators collect in Nigeria.
That was then.
I'm coming. At that time, I interviewed him. He said they will give him money that he thought is for the entire year, but by next month, another tranche of money. So at a point, his conscience couldn't accommodate it. He started shouting. What happened? The House turned against him. You could remember, the House turned against him. You know, the House has a way of dealing with, members that are. At the end of the day, I sought Honorable Uche Yagocha. He was also in that, House at the time. Uche was telling me that, do you know that members will just take money, any amount they like, they will say they are having one ailment or the other, and they will say they want to travel to so country. Without doing anything, they will just manufacture papers and submit that they have retired the money. That all you need is to retire the money. That Uche was telling me that at a point, legislator will be joking in the plenary. Oh, Honorable that you always have cancer. What of if eventually you have cancer? They tell you, yes, these people are alive. Thank God, one of them is also in the National Assembly.
I have Oye calling from Niger. Good evening, Oye. Oye, are you there? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to the panelists. I quite share most of your statements there. And the additional thing that was about address is that, in fact, if the Nigerian government will make it in such a way that the National Assembly election should be made open, I thought that even a classroom teacher, a farmer, a local employee can aspire for the position of a senator of stress. Meanwhile, his salary will continue in place of service. All he needs to do is that any time in the sitting or there is a need for a delegation on an important issue, he goes to Abuja, he makes a delegation itself, they go back to their own destination. Because in the real sense of it, it's just like what we said yesterday, what is going to the judiciary is even more than necessary. And we have other areas that is seriously solving that needs to be attended to, considering the economic climate in the country. So I will advise that the National Assembly, in the interest of peace and interest of patriotism, if really they are there in the interest of Nigeria, they should please concede to the advice people are giving them. They should follow their point. And most of them are already millionaires. They are only there to make money. The name has been made. In fact, for you being addressed as the Senator of the Federal Republic, I think is an additional upgrade to your CV. So they should please try and consider the downfall by allowing their salary emoluments and allowances to be slashed.
Thank you so much, Oye. Because when he mentioned Senator Sholade, and he said, senators like that or legislators like that, they have a way of dealing with them. Is that what Jibrin is facing now? Because apart from the humongous money these guys collect, did you hear the revelation? I was reading the revelation. How much they shared.
The problem is not about their salaries.
I know.
It's about the allowances.
Even apart from the allowances, the allowances, the padded ones.
Let me tell you,
they make money.
They make probably more money from their from the so-called constituency projects. Forget the allowances. Those projects don't get executed. What they do is the executive doesn't supervise their constituency projects. Maybe out of respect, I don't know why we have that arrangement. The executive does not supervise the constituency projects of National Assembly members. So what they do is they go to connive, but the executive facilitates execution. That is the arrangement.
Responsibility.
So what they do is they connive with civil servants and ensure that once that money is released, they really do not do any serious thing with it. They can just give you what I would call tokenism. Somebody can say, okay, I'm building, what's it called?
Public toilet.
A town hall, a small,
okay,
town
small
hall.
Town hall.
If you know Akute very well, if you're on your way to Olambe, you will see a former federal legislator from Ogun State. I think it's Obadara. We put one funny town hall on the right. This is what happens. The connivance between greedy, corrupt civil servants and our lawmakers ensure that the bulk of the so-called constituency project, the money allocated for constituency project gets pocketed. So, and in a situation, in a state, if, for example, 1.4 billion was released to like 3 senators from a state, I can tell you that out of this 1.4 billion, the bigger portion of it just goes straight into their pocket. You will not even see a real project. What they do sometimes is they will call a few people and distribute sewing machines to them or grinding machines, and they say they have empowered our people. But the question is, because we don't ask questions as a people, we don't ask questions. The person who is distributing grinding machines to you, who is distributing a ceiling fan, you know, to you, Okada is even a rarefied class. The person who is distributing fan for you, rechargeable fan
for the weather,
you have not found out how much he got. So he has only given you a very infinitesimal portion of the money he got as constituency. They don't do it. Remember in 2006 when Fayose was going to be impeached and the EFCC began to tighten his nose on Fayose. What did they do? They arrested the lawmakers who were loyal to him. What did they accuse them of? That they collected money for constituency project that they didn't do. The lawmakers will tell you that they don't collect the money, that the money gets released to the states. But through the civil servants, the bulk of the money comes back to them.
But Jide, before we go on break, please, can you re-emphasize the fact that it's not only constitutionally that we can make these people part-time, but the people, so for the people out there, because if they feel they are held up, so we understand what the people can do, and even these guys don't know.
Nigerian law can be changed. The constitution can be amended in different ways. If across the country, for example, all the houses of assembly, they pass motion to say, okay, we want this. You overwhelmingly across the country, it is passed. It becomes law, ultimately. So it's not like it is only through them that law can be amended.
So you're saying the people can even scrap the Senate now? We can scrap? Can we scrap?
I don't know. We can get to that point.
That's what Nigerians want.
We can get to that point if we get sufficiently and the move is started.
So we have the power.
I will give the example of the.
Can you do that briefly because we need to go on the shop?
I will give the example of the autonomy for local governments.
Can you reserve that point? We'll come back after the break to talk about that. We need to go on a short break. When we'll come back, we'll definitely continue. Welcome back. We're still talking about the issue of making Nigeria Legislature a part-time one. Gentlemen, I just need to get your conclusion on all this, and I did interrupt you to go on that break.
So I'm saying that if across the 36 states of the Federation, the houses of assembly vote that this is what they want, it's just that
but they will be affected also.
The alternative is extremely cumbersome. To get all, I'm talking about how laws can be amended. You know, whereby whether these guys like it or not, it will sail through. The alternative is extremely cumbersome and expensive. Because if we now have to go around all the, it will start with the public hearing. Nigerians must show that, yes, indeed, this is what they want. Then across our states, the assembly support, two-third majority of the assembly members support that idea that yes, this is what we want. It will eventually
take it to the National Assembly.
Take it to the National Assembly, and they will have no choice.
Okay, your conclusion.
My conclusion is, in whatever way that we can do it, our financial situation has made it imperative that we cannot continue to pay part-time lawmakers for full-time payment. They are not doing full-time work. We should pay them part-time for the part-time work that they are doing.
Okay. General, what do you think?
I think at this juncture, it becomes imperative for the National Assembly members to align themselves within the thinking of Nigerians. If you have studied the activities since 1999 and how they have been carrying on, it's like they don't want to bring themselves on the same page with Nigerians. You can see from whatever is happening. When Nigerians were shouting that there was no money, that was when they were buying cars, even inflating the cost of the cars. And they were justifying it because they said the DG is using jeeps and
they
stuff.
refuse to patronize our local assembly.
So I think there's a need for them
their salaries are being paid where some people are still being owed salaries.
there's a need for them to come back home and really situate themselves within their constituents.
All right, then. Thank you so much. Moving on, yesterday, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audogbe, made a statement that the hunger in the land might last for a while, but soon there will be enough food in the country and also for export. Ogbe said the country can still swim out of hunger with determination and hard work. And Nigerians, however, have increasingly shown dissatisfaction with the standard of living and personal economic situation. As a report of a survey released by NOI Polls yesterday showed that the personal well-being index of Nigerians declined by 0.6 points at the end of the second quarter of 2016. This decline may be the effect of the recent reports of massive layoffs as companies are trying to cut costs so as to remain in business. How fast can the country get out of this economic mess? The economic mess, it is even affecting our food now already.
And the reality is, let's look at what we can get, the positives that we can take out of our present situation. Lamenting every day won't take us out of recession. We are not the only big country that has been in recession. Brazil is in recession, and they are addressing it. So that is what we should do. It is unacceptable that we continue to import food that we can produce. To be spending $1.8 billion importing rice alone is crazy. I don't see any country where this happens. Rice, just rice. We are not talking about wheat, we are not talking about sugar and other things that we have, that we can grow.
In abundance.
I was in the north, Zamfara, Kaduna, Katsina, and even Kano. What God has given us as a country. The north, for example, has so much fertile land, so much. You will see cotton as far as the eyes can see. Miles and miles of cotton. Yet we have our textile farms are dead.
They're dead.
The reality is that we must continue to grow enough food to feed our people. Rice especially. Rice. Up till the year 2000, Brazil was an importer of rice. But by 2009, Brazil became a net exporter of rice. It takes determination. The former administration had already started something along that line to achieve sufficiency in rice production. You know, so we need to build upon that and ensure that we produce enough to feed our people. We have no reason to be behaving the way we are behaving. I said sometime on this program that place in Kano, where they used to stack bags of groundnut on one another to form
the pyramid.
The pyramid. Suddenly, it became feeling wanka where they wash clothes. But the last time I went to Kano, they no longer wash clothes there. You know what they do?
What?
They sell second-hand cars there.
Wow.
So people have abandoned agriculture, whereas many years ago, agriculture was the mainstay of our economy. Our economy was built around agriculture. So now that we are finding things difficult as a country, and foreign exchange is extremely difficult to find, rather than take so much of our foreign exchange and use it to bring in rice, sugar and the rest that we can produce, wheat that we can produce. We can produce wheat in several states of the north. We should just focus on feeding our people. But the pain that I feel is that every good idea in Nigeria gets sabotaged one way or the other. That rice, the local rice, that people call ofada here, you know, plenty of the rice that you call ofada is actually produced in Egbimo, in Ekiti state. A lot of it from Abakaliki, but you call it ofada all the same because they grow rice there too. Fine. The rice that we are talking about in the north, it is 700 naira for a measure. Is it mudu or what is it called? Congo. Yes. Depends on what they call it in your locality. That's 700 naira. Imported rice is sold, of the same measure, is sold for 1,050 naira. So you cannot, and you know that imported rice is parboiled. The grains are even longer. So we need, if the price is that high, it will not discourage our people from even smuggling or doing what they can to get their hands on the imported rice. So the price of the locally produced rice needs to go down. That is what we encourage, not just the buyers, but even the producer, because once it is high, people will not buy it. And if the farmers don't make enough money, then you've not encouraged them to work harder for the coming year.
What do you think? Because even now, the Minister of Agri was saying that now, compared with the fact of with everything Judah said, we now have invasion of locusts. I mean, is it locust here? And even some birds are invading our farms, which is a matter of emergency. Is that not from fry pan to fire?
In fairness to the old man, Audrey, I haven't seen much. Believe me that they are doing in the area of agriculture.
Compared to the last man, additional, right?
No, I've not seen much. He has been traveling from state to state. Believe me, I don't know why we always put politics, making it look political, things that are of economic, you know, experiences. We always make it like politics. What I would expect is, they keep talking about it that we are in a recession. There's nothing we can do about this recession. The best opportunity to get out of it is through agriculture, and they know it.
They know it. Can I quickly take Ali? Please reserve your thoughts. Ali, you're calling from Nigeria. Good evening.
Yes, Ali is calling all the way from Nigeria State.
Good evening.
Good evening, the journalist.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Babajibe Koladi and the rest. Good evening.
Ali.
Yeah, I am Ali Musa Adamu, calling all the way from Niger State.
Okay. Your contribution, please.
So I just want to make a little contribution on the agricultural sector. So what I intend to say is very, very important based on the food production. According to the analysis which all Nigerians know is that in every home, in a week, yes, 2 or 3 families that will prepare rice for their house. So what I just want to say is, do we have the land for rice production? The answer is yes. Do we have the soil for rice cultivation? The answer is yes. Do we have private bodies who will assist the government to cultivate rice? The answer is yes. Do we have dams, rivers, and lakes to irrigate rice farming and other agricultural produce? The answer is yes. Do we have the security for our food production? That is another question. I don't think the answer is right. So do we have our infrastructure in the production of rice and other things? That is the answer I don't know. So now, how do we produce rice in Kebbi, Sokoto, Zaria, Kano, Niger, Benue, and Kwara? Then we will now transport it to Lagos for mining, that is for processing. This shows that we are not really ready for this production. So, from my analysis now, the cost of production plus the cost of transporting that raw rice for milling will be equal to or greater than the cost of importing the rice.
I get what you mean.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So if we are producing rice in all these states and we don't have the mining machinery that we need
infrastructure
in those areas, then we will now be transporting the rice to other parts for milling. So
wonderful.
Are we really ready?
Wonderful, Ali, you've made your point. Let's take it from there. Really, he's made a very good point.
It's a valid
infrastructure is not there.
Yes, Dangote is coming into rice production now and assisting more than 5,000 farmers. You know, so rice production would improve, but we need more integrated rice farms.
Okay.
Under the Jonathan administration, some integrated rice mills came up, and banks were encouraged to support them with funds.
Okay.
But we really do not have enough of those integrated rice farms in the country now that can adequately feed our people. And once we don't have enough to feed our people, smugglers will continue to
General, I'll get your reaction, please, after this short break. Don't go anywhere, please. Welcome back. General, it's your turn now. And compounded with this, what we've been discussing, shortage of food and a possibility that we the hunger in Nigeria might last a while. We're talking about the personal well-being index dropping by 0.6% according to the NOI polls.
You know, at times some of this percent stuff, you ask yourself how they come about it. But if you want to be sincere with ourselves, the living standard of an average Nigerian, or many Nigerians, has really dropped. Many Nigerians. I don't know to how the percentage, because there's hunger in the land. You come across people, you see it, they tell you. And it has to do with the fact that we failed to do what we have done. There are so many politicking around the issue of diversification of the economy. When people talk about the issue of agriculture, with the noise made by the last Minister for Agriculture, we shouldn't be in this situation. Why is it that a bag of rice that was about 8,000, 9,000 about 2 years ago is over 20,000 now? Because the government banned importation. In 2014 March, because I belong to an association and then we were organizing our elections, I was a member of the NECOM. We traveled all over the country where we have chapters to go and conduct elections. We visited Seme. That was the day I almost wept for Nigeria. I discovered that as of 2014 March, April, people were smuggling tomato pepper from Benin Republic into Nigeria. If they told me, I wouldn't have believed it. I saw it.
Fresh pepper?
Yes, from Seme Republic. And pineapple. Banana. Between 1992 and 1994, I was a teacher at Idiroko, another border town. Nigerians, because you know, we stroll across the border as if we are just going to the gate there. Nigerians were smuggling pepper tomato outside Nigeria to Benin Republic. When Obasanjo's daughter was attacked, there was this notorious armed robber that they said strolled into Nigeria, strolled into Benin Republic with a long convoy of cars they have stolen or snatched. Obasanjo shot Nigeria border. The president of Benin came to Nigeria almost on his knees that hunger will kill his people because we were the one feeding them. Unfortunately, as of 2014, Nigerians were being fed from Benin Republic. That is the sad story of Nigeria. What is happening now? If we had done it before, whereby there won't be that total ban in importation, because there's almost a total ban on importation, because where is this dollar to import. Jide has just told us $1.8 billion to import rice. But now we can't afford the luxury. That was why it has to happen. Now, we hear some stories that are very cheering. Anambra has gone into massive rice production. Kebbi State is also into it. Abakaliki will come.
Lagos.
Sometimes in 1998, we did doing the documentary for Benue State. They contacted the television I was working then that we should do a documentary, Benue State, the food basket of the nation. We had the opportunity of touring the whole of Benue State, Zakibiam, Kasinala, Vandeika, and stuff like that. All these rice mills, they were there then. What the guy wanted to do was to beam this thing to the public, to the investors, so that they will come. But because this thing was 1997, 1998, it is heart-rending that between that 1998 and now, Nigeria has not become self-sufficient in rice production. If you visited that place that time, you see all those, they call them rice mills, but they are local rice mills, which should have been developed.
Even
if you have done something,
is now a rice farmer in Benue State.
Benue food basket. When we got to Zakibia, as about that Kasinala or so, you see some yams as tall as a human being. And between then and now, we are still depending on food imported from abroad. I think that the need for us to really put politics aside.
It is convenient for people to wait for the oil money from Abuja rather than develop other sources.
Can I quickly take Felix from Jos, right?
Yeah.
Good evening, Felix. Felix, are you there? We're waiting for you. Good evening.
Yeah, evening, sir.
Your contribution, please. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to comment on the issue of part-time legislation. I want to believe that our country truly needs part-time legislation now. Me, in person, my senator, I'm from North, like Jonah Jan. It's quite often I've not been seen in the House or in the Senate.
Let me on recess.
So I believe
do you see?
Men are just there consuming our resources.
Yes.
So I do believe that.
Do you see Jerry saying it?
At home.
He said, "Do you see Jerry saying at all?"
If you want to move forward, I think it's time we should think right and channel our resources in the right direction.
Okay. All right, then, thank you so much, Felix. And you know, that's a big question. He said he's looking for his house.
See, all this discussion about diversification of the economy, it will be good for us the day we remove politics out of it.
I know.
Nigerians don't get serious about it all the time. What this government is saying about diversification will do agriculture, the previous administration said more than it. At the end of the day, what happened?
But they were distributing phones then. I think they did something then.
The reality is, this government has to do it whether it likes it or not, because it won't find the funds that the former administration found. When we were talking about the current value of the Naira, I said that the cushion that we had during Sanusi's time, whereby we were using $20 million to defend the Naira against the dollar every week, nobody can do it now. You cannot, what do you even have in your reserve to do that? So now what we are faced with now is a situation that we whether we like it or not, we must go for agriculture. And I'm happy that even some of the non-oil receipts, Nigeria's non-oil receipt has gone up. So it's encouraging. When we begin to see clearly that we can't find the forex to get involved in certain transactions, nothing will tell us before we take the decision that yes, agriculture. Was Lagos keen about agriculture before? Today, Lagos is partnering with Kebbi to grow rice. You know,
and you mentioned that Igbimo rice. You know, I think it's only Nigeria that has that kind of rice.
It is even better than
we can export that.
Let me tell you, the rice that we are eating, this foreign rice.
Yeah, it's not.
Some of them have been kept for more than 10 years.
Yes.
What they do is they use it in their own feed mills. what you are eating and you are excited, you think you are eating good rice, has been kept in their own store for like 10 years. It has lost all its nutrients. When you cook that igbimo rice, I know that Mojil's head will be turning where he is now. So when you cook a Abakaliki rice, you know that Abakaliki rice. You see
some little oil coming out.
You will even, as you are stepping into your wife is cooking, you feel the aroma. Go and cook that Thailand rice, you know, until Jesus Christ comes. You will not feel any form of aroma.
So
let's improve what we have.
Your conclusion, General.
This is the mother of invention. We have no choice. We need to get it right. And I think the signals we are getting is that we will get it right this time.
I hope they will get it right. You know, Obasanjo did Operation Feed the Nation. Everybody comes up every time to do something.
That is why I said what we witnessed.
The
situation is different now.
So we just have to
is different now. Okay. Even though I'm not comfortable when it's only government, you don't bring private individuals into it.
I think Dangote is coming on a big scale now.
Like if you have like 100 Dangotes doing it in Nigeria, believe me, the picture will change.
We will get there.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Then banks need to support these farmers with loans, not at a crushing interest rates.
So Adekunle Yusuf, thank you for hanging out with us today. Adekunle General, Babajide Kolade BKO, thank you also. And that's all on Journalist Hangout. We want to say thank you for those that have called in. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Dakpo Aruwa Joy. Bye for now. God bless Nigeria.